Hi, I'm Erik Voss, and the Avengers Endgame's trailer's biggest reveal wasn't just the title of the movie, it was one cryptic clue that was very easy to overlook in the final part of the trailer. And spoiler warning in case you don't want any plot predictions. Okay, when Cap and Natasha see Scott Lang show up at Avengers HQ, Cap wonders if it's old footage. Turns out Cap must have gotten LASIK while getting roided up with that super soldier serum, because the tiny word archive appears at the top corner of that screen. Why is Ant-Man in archive footage? That's weird. Kind of like that time traveler with an iPhone watching Mike Tyson in 1995? Weird? Yeah, when I saw this archive thing, the first thing that popped to my mind was the post-credits scene for Ant-Man and the Wasp. That was the scene in which Scott Lang got trapped in the quantum realm, and Janet Van Dyne had warned Scott with that throwaway detail of time vortexes.
And don't get sucked into a time vortex. We won't be able to save you.
So presumably, Scott must have gotten sucked into a time vortex down in the quantum realm and traveled to an earlier time. And at first, I thought that said 1983 beside the word archive, making me think that Scott may be back in the early 80s. Before Stark renovated the facility into the new Avengers HQ in Age of Ultron, it was an old Stark warehouse, according to Hank Pym. So maybe Scott will have to work with 80s Hank Pym, Janet Van Dyne, and Howard Stark to figure out how to use time travel technology more efficiently. But now I'm not so sure that says 1983. It also looks a lot like IS-03. That's not a year. So really, this could be any earlier time. But the word archive tells us that this is definitely some earlier time in the present day. It could be a month, it could be several years, depending on how Tony Stark labels stuff. I would say it's sometime in the past decade, given the decent quality of that footage. That's definitely a digital recording, not on tape or anything. Now, it must be sometime after Civil War, because why would Scott reference the airport in Germany if it was before when Cap and Natasha would even get that reference? Like, we have to assume that a cross-country road trip from San Francisco to New York would result in Scott knowing exactly what day he had traveled back in time to, and therefore what recent events to bring up to them. Like, he's a little slow, but he's not that tense. Whenever this is, it's insane for Scott to be here in the past, right? Like, from the moment Civil War ended, Scott was stuck under house arrest, ankle bracelet, and he didn't get that ex-con van until way later. This is some kind of sorcery. Now, there are some other possible clues in other spots of this trailer. Like, check out those leaves on the paved road in Scott's video. That could imply it's a season of autumn. And there was that wide shot of Avengers HQ in the trailer, and those green trees look as though it could still be spring or summer in upstate New York. It's hard to tell, but you don't really see any leaves on the ground anywhere, even though much of the grass in there does look a bit unkempt. I would just say that these other shots in the Endgame trailer look like they take place no longer than a month after the snap. Natasha's hair isn't that different, but it's enough time for Cap to shave his beard. Grooming aside, I think the hardest issue to wrap one's brain around is if Scott went through a time vortex in the quantum realm, which he got into with the quantum tunnel device that was in the van, why would he now have the van with him in the past? Like, the van itself wasn't down in the quantum realm. It probably couldn't also go through the time vortex, right? To that I would say, I guess we don't really know how this technology works. Hank Pym's technology has in the past extended to containers and vehicles that contain his Pym tech. Maybe his tech creates a field or a bubble, and all the technology contained within that bubble are affected by whatever meddling happens on subatomic layers within it. So in that case, maybe if subatomic quantum realm Scott slips into a time vortex, he could drag the entire Pym tech van through that time vortex with him. But I know that sounds kind of sloppy, right? Look, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I may have actually figured out a time travel theory that works and might justify a lot of the weird stuff we've seen in Marvel Phase 3 movies. Should I patent this? Before I get to that, this video was sponsored by ExpressVPN. So in case you don't know what it is, a VPN allows you to browse the internet with privacy, without things like ad companies or hackers, spyware, or if you're Scott Lang, unreasonably invasive government agencies. It prevents any of these things from tracking your data. ExpressVPN masks your IP address to make sure you aren't being monitored, so you can have that peace of mind. You can just live your internet life without the fear of people staring at everything you're doing, or selling it to people who might want to annoy you in all kinds of ways. ExpressVPN is the fastest VPN on the market, and it's the #1 VPN service rated by TechRadar. And say you're in a different country, like I am traveling to London for the holidays, and I know that when you're in different countries, you can't always access everything on Netflix or YouTube or other streaming services. I am actually using ExpressVPN to avoid all those weird restrictions when I'm abroad. It's great, I'm so excited, because this is the way the internet should be, wherever you currently are. ExpressVPN lets you securely stream or download content from anywhere, anytime. And it's only less than $7 a month with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Take back your internet privacy today and find out how you can get 3 months for free by clicking on the link in the description box, expressvpn.com/newrockstars. That's expressvpn.com/newrockstars for 3 months free with a 1-year package. Again, visit expressvpn.com/newrockstars to learn more. Take back your privacy today. Okay, everyone, here is my theory for how Scott Lang could have escaped the quantum realm and gone back in time with his ex-con van. Subatomic quantum realm Scott could have gone through a time vortex to something like 6 months before Thanos arrived. He goes through and he resizes back to the previous autumn on that parking garage roof in San Francisco, but no van is there, no Pimtech. Hank and Hope are still tinkering around in their suitcase building that they were 6 months before. Janet Van Dyne is still trapped in the quantum realm. And Scott's past self, a duplicate, we'll call him Scott B, is still under house arrest. Remember, he's playing in cardboard tunnels with Cassie. Thanos' forces have not targeted Earth yet. The events of Ant-Man the Wasp haven't begun yet. So our Scott A, he's freaking out. Where did everyone go? Why is it 6 months earlier now? He's thinking, I don't want to talk to my past self or anyone I know. That could create one of those disastrous paradoxes that Doc Brown warned me about. And he's thinking, I gotta be careful to keep a low profile, because if Randall Park and his feds find me outside, they're gonna think I'm violating my house arrest court order. They're gonna take me back to that raft prison, or maybe back home, where I will run into Scott B, and boom, paradox. So Scott borrows the company van, which back 6 months earlier did not have the quantum tunnel device in it yet. It was just a van. And he drove it cross country to upstate New York, where the only people he can trust might be able to tell him what the hell is going on. But remember, at this point 6 months earlier, probably none of these people were there. Cap and Nat were on the run, Banner and Thor off planet, so maybe Stark or Rhodey or Happy Hogan would be around, but I would imagine they would tell Scott to take a hike. Ooh, by the way, you may remember that final scene in Spider-Man Homecoming when Peter Parker arrived at Avengers HQ? He actually saw a Quinjet taking off. Now, we never learned who was in that Quinjet. Was it crazy Scott Lang from the future being sent away? Now, Homecoming, we think, took place in fall of 2016. There was a lot of confusing things with the timeline of that movie, but I think if Scott went back 18 months, the timing would work out. But even if that timing doesn't work out, let's say that Scott leaves Avengers HQ feeling rejected. No one answered the door, but he's still stuck 6 months in the past. So from there, his only option is to just blend in and wait for the future to catch up so that he can meet back with Hank and Hope and Janet on that rooftop the moment that he went back, just to close the loop like Marty McFly. But then he sees them turn to dust. So in that moment, he's like, what do I do? Well, I got this van here and it's got a time vortex device in it. If I can get the right friends to finally return my call, maybe we can all use it to somehow prevent this. Now, the irony of Scott time traveling 6 months back and going to New York for advice, the world's preeminent expert on time travel was just a short drive away, Dr. Strange. That makes me wonder. Let's say Scott did leave Avengers HQ and then somehow ran into Stephen Strange down in Manhattan. Maybe Dr. Strange would turn him away too, as some idiot, crook, wannabe Avenger. But let's say Strange remembers this moment. And 6 months later, when the battle with Thanos is going down, and Dr. Strange is looking ahead at 14,605 possible future outcomes, he sees a familiar face in one of those outcomes. It's that idiot, crook, wannabe Avenger. He was telling the truth about time travel. So Strange says to himself, no matter what we do, we're gonna lose this fight with Thanos. He's gonna get his stones. He's gonna snap half of us out of existence. But if the surviving Avengers back on Earth can track down that one idiot, if they can find some proof that he really can travel through time, they can undo all of this. Not long ago, I released an updated breakdown of what I think the exact conditions are of Doctor Strange's mystery plan for his endgame. One of them, I speculated, was for Scott Lang to have to be trapped in the quantum realm. But let's further clarify that point. Not only did Doctor Strange know Scott would get stuck in the quantum realm, I think he knew Scott was gonna figure out how to travel through time, and that he would be positioned on Earth with the surviving Avengers to devise some strategy to travel back in time again and again to key moments and destroy each of the Infinity Stones. I think this is the plan that Cap and Natasha are referring to in this moment of the trailer.
This is gonna work, Steve.
I know it is. Because I don't know what I'm gonna do if it doesn't.
Now, I could extrapolate further on what this theory would look like in the movie, but I don't know, maybe I'm right. Maybe I've said too much. And I don't want to accidentally predict every scene of Avengers Endgame. So for now, comment down below with what your thoughts are on this theory, and follow New Rockstars on Twitter at New Rockstars, and me on Twitter and Instagram at EA Voss. And of course, subscribe to New Rockstars for theories and predictions on everything Avengers Endgame related, even though I gotta say, it's pretty bizarre that the biggest threat to Thanos is now suddenly the Ant-Man van. Never saw that one coming.